Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, here to talk all about a major Steam update as Steam's in-game FPS counter has been expanded and now has become more of an in-game overlay performance monitor. That is some great stuff. We'll talk about that. Arma 3, one of the more iconic Steam game releases of all time, PC game releases of all time, has gotten a major update 12 years after its initial release, a performance update on that. And speaking of performance, a lot of discussion around Borderlands 4 and its PC system requirements. A lot of people may potentially be gated out of playing the game. Now, keep in mind, this is a game that they're getting to run on the Nintendo Switch too. So, you know, I feel like they're gonna get the game operating on lower-end hardware, but we'll talk that at the end of this video. First off, I do want to note that SteamDB on Twitter did note Steam's in-game FPS counter is now expanded to become the in-game overlay performance monitor. It can display various more detailed information about frame rate, CPU performance, GPU performance, and more. I love that Steam has a built-in performance counter because, yes, individual games do often have their performance counters, and Nvidia has theirs, AMD has theirs. Sometimes it's a little bit janky, and getting the specific performance overlays to work on specific games. Like, I've had issues with AMD's overlay, I've had issues with Nvidia's overlay, Steam's overlay, even though it was just an FPS counter, it was always working in my experience, and just having multiple easily accessible options, I always think is a good thing. And the thing that I do recommend is, it's great to monitor performance, you guys, but remember the reason you do play video games is hopefully to ideally be immersed and enjoy the video games. I was talking to a buddy of mine recently, and I forget what he was playing. I think it was Doom the Dark Ages, and he had his performance overlay open the whole time he played the game, and he at a certain point just started bugging out, being like, why do I have this performance overlay open? I just keep staring at it the whole time and I'm not enjoying the game. And I'm like, yeah, bro, you should probably close that. Like, I like monitoring performance, don't get me wrong, but at a certain point, it just gets so, I feel to me, like, and this is totally a me issue. Why am I bugging out over the fact that there's a slight performance dip? But every time I see the performance dip on the counter, and it's not even reflective of my game experience, I just see that counter, it drives me insane. And I will keep performance counters open, maybe in the initial experience of playing the game, or if I'm doing testing, which I don't do much on this channel, but if I'm doing testing, obviously I'll keep it open. But when I actually play games, you guys, I like to turn that stuff off, and I know some people, they just perpetually have it on, like 24/7. Anytime they play a game, they just perpetually have it on. That can't be me. I'll be looking at the data too much, and at the end of the day, the video games are there for me to play and enjoy, and maybe some people can ultimately enjoy games while looking at data the whole time. I ain't one of those, oh my god, it dipped to 47 frames per second, I gotta upgrade my PC right now. Sometimes I do think like that, and it just becomes, oh my god, let me tweak around this setting, let me do this, let me do that to try to maximize performance. And it's at like a certain point I'm just like, yo, I get it. That's one of the great things about PC, that you can observe metrics like this and then assess what settings you want to alter and whatnot. Sometimes I literally just want to boot up a game, play it, and not think, and you know what, that's become a lot of the times these days. And yes, that is more of a consoleized experience, but I do like having the option to go more in depth if I do want to. It's just very infrequently do I take advantage of that option these days, but the fact it's available, I really do appreciate. So there you go with that. It should also be noted that there has been a lot of notes about Steam's overlay being unoptimized, so that isn't ideal either if you do experience, you know, frame rate stuttering or anything like that while you have the overlay open. Obviously, turn it off. I know Nvidia's had issues with this as well, but yeah, that is something to consider. On top of that, speaking of performance, Arma 3 has gotten performance optimizations in update 2.20. This is a lengthy post on their official page, and they have a lot of data there, so you can go and check that out if you do want. I'm not going to go into it in depth, but they do note some 12 years after its initial release, it being Arma 3, we still find ourselves releasing free platform updates to the game. This is something we can hardly believe ourselves, and we think you'll agree that it's a splendid splendid situation. Thanks to the continued support from the game's community and Bohemia Interactive leadership, we're still in a position to offer some limited live ops development. The hands-on team can be counted on one hand now, but we should not forget it takes a bigger support network to keep things flowing smoothly, publishing, quality assurance, localization, legal, IT, and more teams and individuals have a hand in getting these updates out. They go in depth on the performance optimizations there. I should also note Arma 3 has an absolutely superb discount right now, with the base game being 84% off, down to $4.79. Have a gander at that, and along with that, a free performance update on that. I mean, it's a performance update. I would be shocked if they would charge for that, but they do have the deluxe edition 77% off for $8.73, the ground edition 59% off for $24.59, and then there's the ultimate edition 65% off for $41.89, the creator pack 52% off for $53.21, and the Bohemia shooter pack 36% off for $40.30. So there you go with all of that. Very positive. 216,000 reviews, 90% positive on Arma 3. Obviously, one of the more iconic PC game releases of all time. 479 on that. So go ahead and check that out, and performance optimizations made. And lastly, also on the topic of performance, the Borderlands PC system requirements have dropped, and a bit of a cause for concern as far as how hefty those performance requirements are. Minimum requirements have an Intel Core i7 9700 and a Ryzen 7 2700X, an RTX 2070 and an RX 5700 XT, and then recommended, you're really looking at some top-level requirements. Intel Core i7 12700, Ryzen 7 5800X, 32 gigs of RAM, RTX 3080, and an RX 6800 XT. 100 gigabytes of storage is noted. CPU requirements are quite high as far as recommended is concerned, and the minimum requiring a 2070 and a 5700 XT, I do think is pretty notable. I think a big reason why some of these recent outings, like a Stellar Blade, has done so well is because of how much it's optimized and being able to run on older hardware. A GTX 1080, an RX 580, these older GPUs being able to run a lot of the games that do really, really well, I do think goes a long way. A GTX 1060, for example, if you have that, you can still play Stellar Blade on that, which is insanity to me. Borderlands 4, I get it, might be a beefier of a game, but unfortunately, it looks like some people will be gated out, and as noted on Windows Central, a significant portion of the Steam user base, based on the hardware survey, do not have hardware that's this good. I think a lot of you guys would be surprised at how many people are still on a 1060, 1080 level GPU, because if you bought your PC pre-world shutting down, that's probably the level of a GPU that you do have, and maybe that's on the individual user at this point, and you can't complain about system requirements being too high, because those GPUs are, to a lot of people, archaic, but I do think it goes a long way with a game like Stellar Blade. Looks great on Unreal Engine 4, optimized as all hell, and running on that older hardware set as well. So just something to consider of Borderlands 4 and maybe lackluster numbers that it does pull. I still think it's going to be well into the six figures on this game, but anything really below like 300,000 concurrent players, I would view that as a little bit of a disappointment, and 300 would be the lower end, just because looking at games like a Space Marine 2 and a Dragon's Dogma 2 hitting 220,000, Borderlands 4 I feel like is way bigger than those games, or it should be. So let's see where this game levels off at, but that'll do it for me. Again, Steam getting a major update with the performance overlay update, Arma 3 getting a performance update, and the Borderlands 4 system requirements a little bit on the hefty side, so it'll be interesting to assess all of that. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.